Alright, here we are for round number 1 with 100 card teachings. I'm playing against Liamri. I played against this player yesterday and beat him. I don't know exactly what he or she is playing. I think it's... okay. Blue-black deck. We should be very good in the blue-black, in any kind of blue-black mirror. I have a pretty good hand for this matchup. Oh, shoot. I've got a couple... I took some of the stops off yesterday because I was running short on time a bit. I do want to play another island. I think I'll deprive any, like a Chittering Rats I'll probably deprive. Maybe I won't. Yeah, Chittering Rats is okay, actually. I'll just Echoing Decay it. I don't want to pick up a land this early, so I'll just do that. Gonna play out my Evolving Wilds. So this is why this deck is sometimes not quite as good without the counterspells. I have these two spells instead of like a good counterspell. Let's go ahead and Brainstorm here. We can shuffle away something. Gonna shuffle away both of these, I think. I don't really want removal against this deck. I'd much rather have counterspells, and I've got some counterspells already. Let's go ahead and grab another island. I don't really need all the extra black mana for anything. Okay. This is a good time to play the Aqueduct and pick up this island. Chainer's Edict is okay. I actually like Edict effects against this deck more than I like... yeah, you can have a Seagate Oracle. So I like Edict effects against this deck more than I like targeted removal, because Ghostly Flicker can save something from targeted removal. Alright. Let's go ahead and play this Boneyard. I could have played the island so I could Brainstorm plus Teachings, but I'm expecting to have to play like a kicked Prohibit this turn. But we'll see. Let's go ahead and Prohibit that. My opponent hasn't been able to hold up double blue at all yet. Unless they've got like Negate or something. Okay, they don't. Pieces of the Puzzle is an interesting one, so I can Brainstorm some stuff to the top and then Pieces of the Puzzle. That seems like a pretty strong play. So I'm going to put the Edict on top probably. Let's go ahead and... I'd like to put the Teachings in our graveyard probably. I'm going to put our 2 flashback spells on top. And if, that way I'm guaranteed to hit. Okay, so Dispel is really strong in this matchup, and then I think I'll just take the Edict. I don't have a lot of removal, and I've got a lot of good counterspells and stuff, so unless my opponent has a Dispel, they're not going to be able to resolve anything like too strong this turn. So my opponent didn't get to see this false summoning that I have. Yep. So we're in a great spot this game. As long as I hit some land drops, we should have no problem winning from here. Let's go ahead and Edict that guy. If they get a Bajuka Bog, I might be in a little bit of trouble. But they missed their land drop last turn, so... all their spells that matter are creatures. None of their other spells matter, other than Reaping the Graves. Let's go ahead and... I think I'll just flashback the thing twice. I want to kind of reduce my reliance on the graveyard at this point, in case they get a... in case my opponent gets a Bajuka Bog. I'm going to spew off one Think Twice, see if I hit a land. I won't play another one. Okay. So, getting a little land screwed here. I've seen a lot of cards and haven't found very many lands. Like that Brainstorm, I don't think hit any lands. I just got all spells. Yep. I'm not going to think twice. I don't really want to discard if I don't have to. Looks like I do have to, though. I'll just discard a Doomblade. It's not a big deal. As long as my opponent doesn't keep hitting land drops every turn, we should be okay. Like this. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and exclude this rat. Oh, Seagate Oracle. I'm going to exclude that too. And if they counterspell, I'm going to actually deprive and pick up a land because I don't have a land drop for next turn. So it's like free to use the deprive right now. Okay, I do have a land drop now. See if my opponent taps out to play another 3-drop or if they do nothing. I'm not going to flashback the Think Twice. I don't want to have to discard here. Same reason I'm not going to play these pieces of the puzzle. Yep, and I'm just going to let my opponent discard. That's fine. Alright, I also have to discard. Let's go ahead and discard this Disfigure. Alright. Well, if my opponent wants to keep discarding, that's fine with me. I'm just going to discard that Evankar's Justice. I don't care about that at all. Keep in 1, Edict effect. I could actually counter this just so I don't have to... I should actually probably have countered that, to be honest. Hopefully put some creatures on top and just jams them, but if my opponent is smart, he's just putting lands on top every turn. Alright, there's a land. Probably not going to fetch with this, because I don't... as big as my deck is, I don't want to thin at all. Alright, that's a good draw for my opponent. Alright, another Doomblade I'm going to discard. So whoever hits more lands is going to win this game, and our opponent has been hitting more lands than us. It's possible I should just get rid of these cycling lands and make them other lands, because I basically never ever cycle them. Alright, here comes a Muldrifter. Let's exclude that. Hopefully I draw a land from this. A Repeal. It's a pretty bad one. That's probably what I'll discard. Alright. At some point I'll Teachings for Capsize and I'll start putting their lands on top and they won't have a choice, but I really would like to get up to I'd really like to get up to like at least 10 mana before I do that. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I do have 10, so let's go ahead and grab an island with this. And then I will cast the Teachings from my graveyard, I think. No, probably the one from my hand. Yeah, I don't want to discard. Could grab this Whispers of the Muse and really force them to counter something, but let's go with this Capsize. Hopefully I hit a land here. Doesn't have to be untapped, just any land would be great. That's a perfect one. That means I get to hold up like all my counter spells now. Alright, 1, 2, 3. So when you're casting spells with buyback, it's better to tap your mana first. Okay, let's go ahead and dispel their counterspell. You want to tap the mana first because then you don't have to then you don't have to worry about like clicking all the different mana and stuff. Alright, let's go ahead and counterspell again. Probably should have deprived there. Alright. Now I can play some of my card advantage spells. My opponent's got a Reaping the Graves, which is pretty annoying. But that said, I don't really care if they play a bunch of creatures, to be honest. And they're not going to be able to play that many in a turn. Simply because I'm gonna bounce another one of these Aqueducts. Alright. My opponent has to do like some super discarding here. I'm sure they've got a bunch of removal spells in hand that they can discard. Wonder if they're gonna have to discard some of those creatures. They got what, like 5 or 6 back? So yeah, they're just discarding some of the expensive ones. Chittering Rats is probably the best one against us, so they should probably keep those. Alright, so I've got one counterspell here. I'm just gonna play this Ash Barrens. And then I'm going to go ahead and capsize another land here. In fact, it's possible I should just capsize both of them. I might do that. They'll only have 6 mana next turn. Yeah, let's do that. I don't really care if they resolve some creatures here. They're so far behind on mana now. Like, what are they going to do? Play 2 Chittering Rats? I don't care about that. They can feel free to double Chittering Rat me. I'll put the Repeal on top. If they double Chittering Rat me... Oh, they didn't play a land at all. Jeez. Alright, well, I'm going to go ahead and just... I should probably do it in their upkeep, I guess. So, the benefit of doing it now is that I know whether or not I can cast as pieces of the puzzle. I'll just put a stop in their upkeep, and I'll hit their Dismal Backwater. Alrighty. Goodbye, Dismal Backwater. Oh, did I tap too many? Tapped one too many. Alright. This deck usually doesn't play Dispel, and I'd be shocked if they played 2 Dispels, so I should be fine with my Deprive here. I'm gonna like Ghostly Flicker or something. If they played a Dispel plus a Ghostly Flicker, they could kind of get me. I don't know what my opponent's doing here. Okay, well, I'm gonna pick up the Ash Barrens. Alright. So that worked. So, yeah, we kind of get that disadvantage here where I could have cast as pieces of the puzzle, but I'll just cycle this Ash Barrens and then I'll use my Think Twice. That's not a big deal. Alright, let's grab another island. I am thinning out the island before I'm casting the Think Twice. I have a land drop for this turn, so I don't need to draw another one. It's fine if I do, of course, but I don't need it for anything. Alright, let's go ahead and keep them off of double blue. I intend to keep my opponent off of double blue for the rest of the game. Yeah, they just concede, so they don't have a Dispel, so I was going to hit both of these this turn. And they were pretty much dead. So, yeah, that's game 1. So you can see how good our deck was when we didn't draw a removal. The problem is sometimes we draw a removal against them and it's really bad. So for this matchup, I've got these Dispels, the Relics, and the Duresses are what I want. And then I do have to consider if I'd rather have this Echoing Decay than some of the other stuff, than some of the other removal. So I want these for sure. I do not want Repeal. Repeal is very bad against them. I don't think I really need Complete Disregard. It's just a little expensive for a removal spell. I don't like the Doomblades. Agni Warp is still okay as far as a removal spell goes, and then I would prefer to have the Edict removal than targeted removal. So I'm going to go ahead and cut 2 Disfigures. It is a little more efficient than the Echoing Decays. Yeah, let's cut 1 Echoing Decay and put a Disfigure back in. It's a tough call. If they have two rats out, it's nice to be able to get them with the Echoing Decay, but 2 is probably enough. So if I were really serious about this matchup, I would have like a ton more. I have like a ton more things to replace these with. Like I don't want these Disfigures and Echoing Decays and stuff in my deck. I just want the card advantage spells. I don't really want the removal spells. But all right. Let's do it. This is a pretty good matchup for the deck. I did lose it once. It's one of my only losses with this deck was against this one, which was pretty annoying. So this hand is pretty decent if I draw a bounce land, but otherwise it's pretty bad. I probably have to mulligan this. You can see from last game that like all that mattered were land drops and basically nothing else mattered the whole game. Piece of the Puzzle is a pretty good one. I'll put that on top. I am expecting to get hit with a discard spell at some point. Yeah, they keep bringing this in against me. I mean, it's okay, but I'm just going to kill it with this guy at some point. So I have to decide here if I want to get like a bunch of tap lands out of my hand, and I think I do want to do that. One of the benefits of this is if they go and play a rat, I could put like the Devour Flesh on top. Alright, let's go ahead and get an island with this. And then I'll fetch out an island with this as well. Actually, I'll get a swamp with this. Never mind. I need another swamp. Okay. So my opponent's holding up counterspell. Let's go ahead. Yeah, I think I'll duress here. And I'll probably deprive a counterspell if they play one. Maybe not. No, that's okay. Relic is pretty annoying. I think I will deprive that, actually. We are much better at playing around it. No, I have the pieces of the puzzle, so I'm okay. We're much better at playing around this deck than a normal Teachings deck might be. Okay, let's go ahead and Devour Flesh them end of turn. See if they want to counter that. My opponent missed a land drop here, so they're falling pretty far behind already. However, I only have one more land drop myself, so okay, there's another one. I'm not going to play my pieces here. I want to play it with Deprive backup. Yep, they can keep relicking me all they want. So the benefit of pieces of the puzzle is that I get to put a ton of cards in my graveyard, so the relics get a lot worse. I could deprive that one, but I'd like to hold up Deprive next turn after I play my pieces. It does cut off a lot of our card advantage, but that's okay. Alright, so we got some great ones here. I'm going to grab the Counterspell and the Think Twice. Unfortunately, I can't flash back this Think Twice. If I could, I would put the Think Twice in the graveyard, but I don't have enough mana to flash it back. I found that I've had a lot of opponents who are not willing to get rid of their relics, even when they're missing land drops. Like, my opponent has missed 2 land drops already, and he's going to miss a 3rd one if he doesn't play a land here. Like, just sacrifice a relic. Like, it's not that important. Like, missing land drops is so much worse. Yeah, like, you're not... Let's actually go ahead and deprive this one. I would rather deprive here while I don't have a land drop for next turn. I'm going to play the untapped land so I can cast Think Twice and flash it back. This also let me hold up Exclude. So this is the problem with the Relic against my deck, is that I can just play and flash back my spells all in the same turn. I don't have to worry about leaving them in the graveyard or anything like that. Hopefully this is a creature I get to exclude. Oh yes. So my opponent's just missing another land drop. And they're tapped low on relics, so I can just do that. I'm going to play the Dismal Backwater. I think most likely I'll be flashing back this Think Twice and casting Counterspell this turn. Yep. Goodbye Duress. And goodbye Devour Flesh. I don't have any reason to leave anything in particular in my graveyard, so I'm just getting rid of everything. Hopefully they just tap out for another creature. Yeah, well, I think I'm actually going to let this one resolve, and then I'll just Evankar's Justice these away. Or I could just false summoning it, but I do kind of like the perfect... Yeah, I just got like the perfect Evankar's Justice for next turn, so let's go ahead and just do that. I think I'm just going to cast it. There's no real reason for me to hold on to it, and I would like to hold up Counterspell. Yep. Got an empty graveyard. So, like, what's my opponent going to do if I just Teachings for... Yeah, well, false summoning you. What's my opponent going to do if I Teachings for a Capsize and start hitting all his lands? Like, what's my opponent going to do about that? Alright, let's go ahead and Pieces of the Puzzle. Gonna grab a Dispel into Pieces of the Puzzle. Gonna hold up my Counterspells, though. Preordain, I kind of want to counter this, to be honest. My opponent's hand is terrible right now. No, they can have it. They can find some lands. The thing is, they're down to 2 cards, and they don't have that many lands either. So they're behind on lands and on cards. Like, they can sit around relicking me all they want, but as long as I'm hitting land drops, they're going to be out of luck. Evoked Muldrifter, huh? Sure. I'm not in the business of countering divinations. So now that they're tapped low on their mana again, I can just Teachings here. I could grab the Capsize. I think I'd rather just get another Teachings. Yeah, let's do that. Alright, well, punished a little bit, just drew another Teaching straight up. So if they want to sacrifice one of these relics, I'll just use my Teachings. It'll tap me a little low, but they won't be able to play a Muldrifter or anything. Seagate Oracle, I'm going to let that resolve. I'd rather let that resolve and then have my Teachings available to me. I'll just Innocent Blood it away. I think I'll grab and Exclude with this Teachings. Yep. Yep. Alright, so that was probably one of the best cards for them to draw. Or at least they probably think so, but I mean, obviously I'm just going to go grab my Capsize here. Alright. Hopefully I draw land. Did not draw land, but that's okay. I have a Dispel, so I feel pretty safe about capsizing that back to their hand. They're going to Dispel me, of course. Oh, no, they're not. I'm going to go ahead and just Innocent Blood this away so I don't have to discard. So, you can see how far behind, even though I've missed some land drops, my opponent is so far behind me on mana. They could come back this game. Just a couple good draws from them, but really, like, they've got a couple lands in their hand that I know about that they can't really play simply because I've got my Teachings going on. And I just really think they should have sacked one of these earlier just to get a... Man, cannot buy a land ourselves, unfortunately. Let's go ahead and cast this Pieces of the Puzzle. If I hit like a Brainstorm, that'd be nice. Exclude and Whispers, huh? I'm just going to cast the Whispers. I really want to hit a land, so... Okay, we did. Because we're very lucky. I'm going to go ahead and discard this Innocent Blood, I think. Yeah. Let's go ahead and do that. My opponent's up to 5 mana now. Yep, they've conceded. So this is kind of what happens a lot with this deck. You don't really end up playing out the whole game. People just concede. So we started off 1-0. This is a pretty good matchup for us. They've got all these bad cards, like these zombies and stuff, and they have so much removal, and we don't have any creatures. So looks pretty good. Even though they got their 2 like big sideboard cards against us, they didn't really stand a chance. I mean, look at this hand. Look at this hand. How are you going to beat this hand? So, all right, let's move on to round number 2.